In this session, we're going to explore some of the ways Civil 3D helps us control numbered and bulleted lists. Now, I've just launched Civil 3D. I'm going to create a numbered list from scratch. I'll do that by going to the Annotate tab, and then I'll click to launch the multi-line text tool. Let me click to start my rectangle. I'll drag over and I'll create my column width and height. Let me click, and then I'll start typing. We'll type general notes, and then I'll press enter, and then I'll type 1 and a period for my first note. The trick to creating a numbered or bulleted list is to use your tab key. So now that I've got the 1 in there, let me press tab. As you can see, I get this symbol that shows me that I'm going to be creating a list. In fact, if I click this, you can see there's several helpful items here in the pop-up menu. I am just going to click there to put the focus back on the cursor, and I will continue. I'll call this major item number 1, major item number 2. You can see that as I press enter, it takes care of the numbering scheme for me. We'll do one more here, major item number 4. And I'll press enter. You can see that it wants to create another number. I can always backspace to take that out. Now I've got 4 numbered items here. That's a relatively simple list. On occasion, though, you may have sub-items that fall beneath these major items. Let's look at how we can do that. I'm going to put my cursor at the end of major item 1, and I'd like to create a smaller list beneath this item. I'll do that by pressing enter. As you can see, it puts a number 2 in there. Let me backspace to take that out. Let's do a list using capital letters. I'll type A period and then the tab. As you can see, I'm creating another list. We'll call this sub-item number 1. Let me press enter. Sub-item number 2. We'll do one more, sub-item number 3. So same as we saw with the numbered list, the lettered or capital lettered list is getting automatically formatted for us. Let me click to place my cursor right before this first sub-item. I'd really like to indent this part of the list. I can do that by dragging these sliders here in the ruler. If I drag the smallest triangle, I can adjust the paragraph or the word wrap. We'll drag that over. This L shape will control the indent, and this triangle will control the first line. Next, we'll create a sub-item list under major item 3. Let me click at the end of that row and I'll press enter. We'll backspace to take that number out. I'll put a capital A and then a tab. Notice how it automatically jumps to the appropriate tab location. And when I press enter, the formatting continues. We'll do sub-item 2. Let me back up and I'll drag to give myself a little bit more height here. Let's zoom in. We'll take things even further. Maybe I'd like to create a smaller list beneath sub-item A. Let me click at the end of that row and I'll press enter. It gives me another letter. Let me backspace to take that out. This time we'll do lowercase. I'll do lowercase a, period, and then a tab, smaller item. Let me press enter. Smaller item, smaller item. Once again, I want to adjust the formatting. Let me click in front of this first one, and all of these will move as a group. First we'll drag over the paragraph, then we'll drag over the tab, and then we will drag over the letters. Let's drag this down and I'll give myself a little bit more height. Maybe we'll widen this up a little bit too. We'll do one more. I'm going to create a lowercase letter list underneath sub-item A here under major item 3. Let me press enter. We'll backspace to take that one out. Lowercase a, tab. Once again, automatically jumps over and lines up with the other ones. We'll say smaller item, smaller item. Same as before, let me back up just a little bit. I'm going to click in front of this first lowercase bullet item. And then as I drag the slider, you can see that all of the lowercase items will stay together. Now take a look at this. We've got capital A, B, C, and then we're starting over again with capital A. Maybe I'd like to pick up where I left off. I'd like this to be capital D and then capital E. If I click in front of the first item that I want to change and right click in the menu, I can go to bullets and lists and I can say continue. And you can see the change, A, B, C, D, E. You know what? I'd rather this starts over again at A. I'll click to put my cursor in this text string. I'll right click. We'll go to bullets and lists and I'll say start. I want to start the characters over again. I can do that with any of the list items. Let's try something else. I'm going to click at the end of major item 4 here. This is a numbered list. Let me press enter. We'll do major item, major item. So I've got a few more numbered items there. At this point, we've seen how we could start the numbers over, or we can continue them. What if I wanted to set my own number here? For instance, I'd like this to be 24. If I try and drag across this, you can see that's not a selectable item. It's part of an automatically formatted list. So what I'll do is click in that text string. I'll right click, and in the bullets and lists menu, I'll click this toggle to turn off the bullets and list feature. I will then click continue. Now all of these text items are fair game. Let me click in front of 4 and I'll make that 24. I will then click to put my cursor back in that text string. I'll right click, I'll go to bullets and lists, and I'll come down and I'll turn the bullets and lists feature back on. And I'll click continue. Now if I want to pick this up from 24, I'll click in the next text string. I'll right click, we'll go to bullets and lists, and I'll choose continue. Now it's 24, 25, 26. Maybe I'd like to run the numbers all the way through. Let me click here at 24. That's the first one I want to change. I'll right click, we'll go to bullets and lists, and I'll choose continue. Once again, I'll pan this up and we'll drag this down. We'll give ourselves a little bit more height. I'd like to create a bulleted list now. Let's press enter and I'll backspace out that number and I'll type bulleted list. I will then click in front of this text, and then in the paragraph panel, let me open the lists icon here. Notice we have numbered, we have lettered, either upper or lowercase, and I have bulleted. As I hover over these, you can see the formatting automatically change on screen. Let me choose bulleted. I will then click at the end of this text string and press enter. We'll type bulleted list, bulleted list. Same as the other list items, these maintain their own formatting. So let me click at the beginning of this text string and we'll drag over the paragraph, the tab, and the first line. After seeing this, you may think, well, there's only really 4 types of lists that we have. Let me show you this. I'm going to click at the end of bulleted list and I'll press enter, and then I'll backspace to take away the bullet. Let me type a dash and I'll press tab. Dashes work too. Let me press enter. So you can see that will work as a valid bullet item. Let's press enter. We'll backspace that out. I can also use a plus. Plus works too. Let's drag this down. We'll zoom in. I'll press enter. We'll backspace this out. I could use an asterisk if I want to. Feel free to experiment with some of the other characters. You'll be surprised what you can use for bulleted list symbology. And then once again, same as all the others, each type of bulleted list is capable of maintaining its own formatting. Finally, when I'm finished editing my text, I'll click on Screen to close the mText editor. So no matter how complex your notes may become, Civil 3D makes it easy to keep them organized using the power of numbered and bulleted lists. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below.